Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the meeting. We will talk today about a very important subject, and it's about using your thoughts and consciousness to heal and improve your life. My last webinar, which I did several weeks ago, actually was an introduction and explained everything really that you need to know to understand what's happening when you use your consciousness properly and what are the consequences when you use your consciousness, whether to your detriment or your benefit. So for the sake of those that haven't been in the previous, I'm going to give a brief summary of what we talked in a nutshell. And if you want, you can explore the previous videos and other videos I have on YouTube and my website about energy. So it will clear things that you don't understand or you haven't heard, because that may be for some people totally new. Everything in the universe is made from energy. Even the empty interstellar space has energy in it, it's something in it. And of course, all the material, the stars, your body are solid, but they still are made from energy, vibrating in a certain frequency. Actually, everything that's transpiring in the universe and around us, Earth flying 70,000 miles a second around the galaxy, the center of the galaxy, which takes about 25,000 years. Earth turning around the sun in a year and so forth and so on, and turning around itself. It's not an accidental coincidence. It's actually energy working and energy communicating. So everything works together and everything relates in some way to everything else. Everything you do, everything we do affect the whole universe. So there is a connection that caused all this incredible creation, from the cosmos to the trees growing, to the weather changing, to the sun. It's all energy, but all orchestrated in a manner that it's amazing. What you have to understand, that energy is directed by thoughts, directed or by consciousness. And that's been proven scientifically. Since your body is energy, and your body, just like everything else in the universe, your body uses energy to communicate. So all your organs, all your system communicating and affecting and modulating each other. There's nothing in the body is not connected. Or any organ affects everything else on some level with exchange of energy. At the same time, the fact that you're breathing, the fact that your body works properly, also related to the energies that you get from outside your body. So the sun, day and night changes. Every split of a second, the energy changes. Different energy at night, different energy during the day, and also the interaction with your environment that has specific energy. The energy in Florida is not the same as the Himalaya, and so forth. It modulates your body, helps it adapt to the environment, but it actually modulates all the function of your body. The Chinese have some knowledge of that. Western medicine, totally ignorant to that, as far as I know. But it's a very, very complex orchestration of energy. However, the fact you're not just a tree that just grows in a certain way, and tree also has consciousness. Anything has consciousness, but obviously your consciousness is not evolved, because you don't have to stand there and grow, but you can do things in your life. You can move, you can choose, you have choice. And this choice allows you to manage your life in ways that most of us probably don't even have an inkling or clue to how powerful that potentially is. But that's a gift. We can make choices, making choices that benefits us and choices that do not benefit us. So some people know it's not good and do it anyway, but most people intend good and they make a lot of choices with the consciousness, which means the thought and belief, that are not really good for them, even though they believe they are. And as a result, they suffer. Because consciousness directs energy, you have the gift of changing. So for what you have to understand, that any problem that you have in your life, and nobody had perfect life, hardly anybody had perfect childhood. The world is not perfect around us. So we've been, so to speak, programmed with our beliefs, indoctrination, whatever, which is part of our consciousness, to have a lot of negative belief. The bottom line is the paradigm of victim belief system, which I explain on my book, and I have videos on that. And if you're not familiar with this paradigm, it's really important that you understand, because that's the key to open you to unlimited possibility. Most people believe that the belief is created by the reality around you. They actually deny the effect of your consciousness and your ability to change a lot of things, more probably that you can imagine, not only your own life, but the whole world around you. If the paradigm is victim belief system, it basically means that your beliefs were created by the reality around you. And again, you may have unhappy childhood or problems in life like everybody has. And as a result, you don't really realize how powerful you are because you use your thought negatively, which affects you, which I'll explain. On the other hand, if you believe that you're a source and that reality is created by your beliefs, or your beliefs have great effect on your personal reality for sure, but even to some extent the reality around you, then in this manner, you can change anything. You can tackle any challenge, and if you have things that you're not happy in your life, you can improve them. That's also the paradigm of win-win. You know that everything is connected. When you're doing good to yourself, you're doing good to others. When you do good to others, you're doing good to yourself. Versus the victim belief system, but most of us don't even realize how deep they are in our consciousness. The default actions in life, without even realizing, and sometimes with good intention, will be that I'll victimize others before they victimize me, because, you know, I have no control of my life, so better control others, hurt others, otherwise they probably do it to me. So rather be first and be on top of things. That the survival of the fittest, that's a win-lose that creates all the problem in the world. When you understand all these basic things, and I encourage you to study it further, especially if it's new for you, the gift that you have with your consciousness, if your belief system is victim, you're hurting yourself without even realizing. Long time ago, I used to give certain training, and one of the introductory part of the training was that people had to write 3 beliefs about work, about family, about money, about health. And even though most beliefs on the surface appear positive, they're really all negative, all based on fear or on victim belief system. So you believe that money doesn't grow on trees, that money is a source of evil, subconsciously, or money will make you happy and healthy, which is absolutely not true, but this is all based on the victim belief system. If you are in this default, you're really hurting yourself, and indirectly, you're really hurting everybody around you. An example that may clear it up, that I explain my patient, let's take an example of somebody in your family, somebody loved one that has very serious illness, or so-called serious illness, like cancer. Now, typically, you'll be worried, you'll be freaked, you'll be upset because you care for the person. But what you're really doing is projecting your belief, your fears, and mass consciousness. The public have been brainwashed to fear cancer because the treatment is horrendous and most people die. It's like cursed. So when that's your belief system, and you believe that, basically you imply, even if you don't think about the person is a victim. So what you have to understand, that you worry about the person, even if you love them, puts negative energy on them. Not only doesn't help their healing, it helps them to stay in cancer. On the other hand, if you realize these kind of things, and if you need work on yourself, because you're not bad and wrong that you worry, that you're upset, but this is your own stuff. When you release all judgment about the situation of the person, because you're not the person, you're not God. There's a reason for everything. Nobody from higher perspective is truly a victim. All you can do is release all your judgments, which is really your own stuff and fears, and just give them unconditional love because you love them. And then what happens, you support the healing, you support their whatever going on, and you don't put stress on them. Because you have to understand, it's no different if you go to a room, everybody's upset, you'll feel upset. But if somebody close to your family, because you connect to the DNA, or somebody really, really dear to you, you also actually connect to your DNA, what you're doing is that you are putting pressure on them, and they can feel it even if you're not in their presence. It's actually one of the things that people do with good intention, and actually does harm rather than good to the people they love. So this is an example. And if you look, it's all has to be in the belief system. If we were all totally release all our judgments, and just love, then you'll be like Christ, and probably there will be no sickness in the world, where enough of us will do that anyway. Another aspect of that is that your consciousness, you thoughts which create feeling, are affecting your DNA. If your thoughts are neutral or positive or loving, non-judgmental, it improves your DNA and improves your brain. So let me explain. The DNA is basically energy antenna. You communicate with other, you can communicate with the universe. The natural waves, I explain more details in my other webinars, the natural waves that coming and it's information that your body needs are registered to the water. The water is like hard drive, and everything in your body, in the space, the DNA, everything is floating in water, and the continuous information that comes from around you, as well as your own information, communication between your organs and your mind that create energy flow, can help the DNA, can make it better, can make it work better. Or if it's negative thoughts, negative feeling, can sabotage the DNA, because it has been found that the DNA is changeable. They call it epigenetics, and this is a DNA that tells you that you have a tendency to have this enzyme deficient and this good and this not good and so forth. And then with the regular belief system, then you're victim of your DNA that doesn't metabolize because of this enzyme is deficient in your type, and you believe and buy into it. The truth is that your DNA can change, and it changes through healthy lifestyle and managing your consciousness, as I explained. Now, the other good news is that the DNA that they used to call junk DNA, which is about 96, 97%, is turned off DNA. What does it mean, turn off DNA? It means that it's inactive. Now, the good news is that with your consciousness, with proper lifestyle, but mostly with your consciousness, you turn on the DNA that is inactive. When you turn off the DNA, you become more intuitive, more telepathic. You understand things. You can strengthen your body to the point that you can't even get infection or cancer or anything like that. You can live 1,000 years, 10,000 years, because when your DNA is totally turned on, so to speak, you're totally communicating with the universe. And let me just give you another perspective. Everything in the universe is directed by thoughts and intention. If you look at yourself and you're in your mother's womb, initially 2 cells unite, the cells are multiplying, and you have 64 or 128. Initially, all the cells are totally identical DNA. But what happened? All of a sudden, they start to change, and you have liver, and you have kidneys, and you have all these organs, and the DNA is different because it creates different proteins and different functions. This is accident, somebody rolling a dice? No, there is a matrix, a blueprint, energetic blueprint that direct this thing, just like the energetic blueprint of the tree allows him to grow, to create seed, to create more trees. The same thing. It's an energy matrix. The energy matrix is perfect. If you're religious, you call it Shekhinah, Holy Spirit, the Spirit of God. It doesn't really matter how you call it. It's only word. But your connection with this matrix, which is perfect. Look at the universe, how incredible it is. It's perfect. By turning on your DNA, you're reconnecting with this information. And the information can change anything you need, but you do it mostly through your consciousness. And this is why in certain state of mind, people can walk on fire, people can heal overnight from, or miraculously, so to speak, from cancer, and all kinds of miracles. Or people can lift 10,000 pound car to save somebody that was under the car, and so on, because you have unlimited potential. I'm not saying if you do what I'm saying, you're going to live 1,000 years. Maybe it's possible, but the potential is literally unlimited. And as you know, the Bible, we were created in the spark of God is in us, which means the connection to this matrix that you can call it God because it directs everything. And it needs to be there to everything to exist. Just like you need to use your consciousness properly to be happy, to be healthy. It's not an accident. That has to do with the DNA. So it's very important to understand that. All this, by the way, was proven scientifically, and you can research it, epigenetic, and just explore my website. The other very important thing, which is the fascinating, also proven scientifically, is that all the unhappy things in your life, including things that you don't see unhappy. Let's say could be that your parents were beat you up and really mean and put you down, but it could be that your parents were really nice people and you don't remember having anything terrible, but your parents may have wanted you to be in a certain way, which is not you from your own because they loved you, but you gave up. I mean, you did what they wanted you to behave, to do, to study, etc., because they believe it to be the best for you. You're not them, and that doesn't allow you to be yourself. And when you're not yourself in life, fully yourself, you're going to make bad decisions, be manipulated by others. You manipulate others, and that's the game of life, which you can read more in my videos on YouTube, understand actually how it happens, which is also helpful. So all this create an energetic block, and the energetic block from all the emotional stress, it affects your nerve cells. So let's say if you have a lot of anger, stress, trauma from abandonment, it creates nerve cells in your lower brain, in your automatic brain, and those nerve cells actually grow to create centers, so you can, you don't have to worry about everything. They worry about you, but because of the stress, they create nerve centers that you react with stress, even if most of the time you don't realize it consciously, but your muscles are tense and you end having back problems and headaches, or because when you're in the stress response mode, things push your buttons if you're not aware of it fully, bringing old memories. They take away energy from the rest, from certain areas of the body which are specific for each person, and then that area is not being regulated properly or enough, so this area degenerates. So some people develop immune system problem or cancer, some people develop arthritis, some people heart problem, lung problem, and so on and so on. Obviously there are additional factors, but all this started from the stress response of your life, the emotional stress, and also any traumatic events that I explain in other videos on my website. And then automatically in stress. So you get upset, people push your buttons, you get scared. The truth is not really nothing to be scared when you explore the things, but all this create malfunction of your brain and stress and eventually illness. When you do the work we'll talk about, you actually can heal practically anything. Now, there are modalities which are mentioned that we do that can help you accelerate it or facilitate it, but ultimately, there's nothing you cannot do with your mind that you cannot do yourself. However, again, if you eat poorly, if you don't take care of yourself, if you eat GMO food, use microwave, to mention if you have mercury in your teeth, you work with chemical pesticide and do a lot of things which I describe in my videos, then you actually handicapping yourself because it makes it more difficult to feel good enough or aware enough to even do this work. Not that you can, but it takes much more effort. This is why the other part of holistic wellness is to learn what's good, what's not good. The mainstream will not tell you. They tell you a lot of things are okay that actually guarantee to make you sick, and that's another subject for discussion. You have to take responsibility and learn about it. When you do the work that releases emotional things and all the subconscious and conscious stress that you have, by forgiving, by letting go, by understanding what you're doing and realizing what you're doing and letting go of it, which that's what the processes I recommend, then the stress center, so to speak, in your lower brain, your automatic brain, the amygdala and so on, they actually atrophy physically and you develop new nerve centers. And those new nerve centers will actually can get to the point where you're automatically compassionate, non-judgmental, loving, and you don't get stressed. You feel wonderful. And when you get to this point, you know you have a lot of nerve cell regeneration in your brain. You really want to do these things that I'm suggesting or anything that works like that relentlessly until you get to this point. Otherwise, you just pretty much guarantee the same suffering you experience in life. And you have to do it enough to heal enough in your DNA and your brain so eventually it becomes automatic. You don't have to think about it. It just comes naturally. Just like today, most likely for probably all of us, stress comes naturally, being upset, judgmental, angry, worried. It'll be exactly the opposite, no matter what happens around you. And then you'll see that not only your health quality will improve exponentially and dramatically sometimes, but also everything around you, even people around you, will improve and you have better life experience, whatever is your experience now. Now that you have maybe a better understanding of or idea how energy works, you understand that it can heal you or can kill you or make you sick. So it's not only about, even though as a physician I'm focusing on physical health, but there's really no separation between physical health and emotional health, because there's always connection. Any illness that you have emotional issues, could be old stuff from childhood, whatever, it does not matter, or other traumatic events or issues that you had, but because it's part of the package, whether you realize it or not, when you handle this, I tell my patient, if you work on that level, which actually just takes doing but doesn't cost you anything, you improve your chances of healing exponentially. So it's up to you. Another thing about what I'm going to talk about is that you don't have to accept any belief. You can hold on to your life philosophy, religion, cultural beliefs. When you do this, you reconnect, so to speak, with the matrix of God or the matrix of the universe, and you find out your truth. And you find out if your beliefs are okay, you get to keep them. If they're beneficial, they're not beneficial and hurting you, even if though you didn't know before, you'll understand and release them. When you do that, you become your own teacher, guru, master, and as Jesus say, you'll be able to do things like him and even more. And I believe he was right, because your potential is unlimited. He was maybe just a symbol or example of that, a demonstration of that. Most people can do it quite easily, because ultimately it makes you always feel better anyway. There's nothing wrong with feeling better. Very, very easy to do. Nothing to do with your education, with whatever you think you are. Anybody can do it. I just want to mention something that affects your consciousness. Artificial waves disrupt the proper function of your body, because they give your body misinformation, which is not compatible with the biorhythm, with all the processes that I mentioned briefly. And it basically also disconnects you, or parentheses, makes you more zombie, less aware without being aware. I'll give you an example. If you use your cell phone in the car, because of the metal surrounding, or so-called Faraday cage, the cell phone have to work more intensely, so the pollution, the microwave radiation grows many, many folds. So even if you don't hold it to your head, which is absolute no-no, you keep it near you on speakers or Bluetooth or whatever, you're creating such energetic field that you automatically, without you realizing, you're not aware of it, your vision become tunnel vision, plus it delays your nervous response. So it may take you a split of a second, and the split of a second is deadly accident. And the reason accidents in Florida, we see that every 6 months, the fees increase for insurance because there are more accidents. And that's when you text, actually, the pollution is even worse. But you can see it also on YouTube. People walk with a cell phone, and the same, that's what they describe happened to them. They run into posts, they run into car, they're being killed because they're not aware that in a zombie state. So anyway, just give you an inkling, and I mention it because I see everybody with cell phone to the head, and that's a no-no. So I suggest that you explore it. There is on my website, Safe Use of Cell Phones, to study about it. Because again, it's just another factor, just like eating junk food or artificial coloring or artificial sweeteners, which basically are brain poison. You make it much harder for you. And typically people that are poisoned by brain, and I've seen in my practice, you talk to them like talking to the wall. They don't get it. But then they go and change the diet because of the health problem, and all of a sudden, a few months later, they're listening to me, and they understand everything I told you. That's another observation. Let's discuss the tools. There are really many, many tools, and it does not matter which tool you use or how you use it. You can create your own way to do it. One very simple way to do that is to divert your attention. Anytime you have any worrisome thoughts or negative judgment or anything that makes you feel bad, and so on, negative judgment of yourself and others, all you do is you change your attention. So how you can divert your attention? Infinite ways to do that, and you create your own. You can think about something that makes you feel good, from your imagination or past memory, create imaginary wonderful thing. You can just choose one silly, meaningless word. You can create, for example, a scenario. Imagine like pink elephant flying with white rabbit in a circle. It's something totally outrageous, funny, stupid, silly, doesn't matter. And if you do it consistently, every time you worry about something or in general, basically what you're doing, you're diverting your consciousness from focusing automatically on the half empty to focusing on the half full. Because even if totally neutral, the moment you stop judging, you're automatically connecting with this matrix. And what's going to happen when you do it consistently, you basically allowing your body to feel good, even if you're not aware of it. So if you do it consistently, what's going to happen is that your body will tell itself, even if you're not aware of it yet, hey, why I'm resisting? Why I'm upset? It's silly. Why do you put your hand in the burning stove when you can keep it away? So by unfocusing or diverting your attention from the half empty, which is worrisome, you automatically feel better. And when you do it consistently, eventually your body say, hey, I feel good. I don't want to be burned. So you start automatically to release judgment. It could be a very subtle process, but that's really liberates you. The best is to do it on everything. Anytime that it bothers you, you do that. There is a wonderful book which we have for sale. It's also available on the internet from Deep Snow Press. It's translation of Russian book. It's called The Art of Soaring. There's a second sequel, The Power of Luck. And all the book is doing, this guy in Russia, he does workshops and he teaches people whatever I describe. And he gives many, many ways to do it and how you can create your own way to do it. It really doesn't matter. But what happens when people do that, miracles happen. So I give you a few examples. So this lady was told she has stage 4 cancer by her doctor. So she happened at the same time to hear that this was meeting and this Russian guy was giving a lecture. So she liked what he said. She started doing it. She had so much fun. She totally forgot about the cancer. After 3 months, she said, oh, by the way, the doctor said I have terminal cancer. She goes to the doctor and they couldn't find anything. Oh, for example, one person, his boss gave him hell and was really giving him a hard time. So he did, anytime he thought about his boss, he did this kind of thing. And his boss, not only did change, it became his best supporter and best friend. They even do it with the neighbors that really creating disturbance, and they do it on the neighbors, and the neighbors stop doing it. You can do unbelievable stuff. It's very nice to read the book because it gives you an idea and maybe give you some ideas that you like. So you can use it for everything. There is another, and also describe it in the book, there's other ways. Let's say you don't even do that, but you start shifting your attention deliberately. So for example, every 15 minutes, you think about something nice or shift yourself in any way. Imagine something wonderful, just the example that I gave. If you do that, and if you do it consistently, you'll find that all of a sudden things that you didn't feel possible. For example, describe this guy started doing it, and he had a dream to buy something, a piece of furniture was too expensive. So he found somebody was selling it for pennies on the dollar, what he was dreaming of but couldn't afford, and he bought it. So the universe will give you what you desire and what you want because you stop resisting. I hope that makes sense to you. But again, you don't have to believe me. You just need to do it yourself to see what happens. So this is one simple way to do it, and you can create your own. You don't have to do everything. Just pick one thing and do it consistently. So another way to add to it or do it by itself is get into a good feeling. What does it mean? Every 15 or 30 minutes, you can use the digital timer. You turn it on and think about something wonderful. So if you're religious, think about Jesus or whatever you believe in. Think about something wonderful. Think about somebody you love. Just do it consistently. What's going to happen? Exactly what I already described. And it may take a while, a few days probably, more. Don't worry about the time it's going to take to do. But eventually, all of a sudden, you start to feel better and better, because the idea of doing it every 15 minutes or at least 30 minutes, that you stay in this feeling as long as you can. And understand it's not meditation or prayer. You can stay in good feeling and drive and talk to somebody, whatever. You can do any of your daily activity. You don't have to put time aside to do this kind of thing. And just doing that will do the same thing. So the point is, it doesn't matter what you choose to do. I have many, many other tools that describe on my website. You do it until you eventually automatically will feel better and better all the time. So instead of being stressed from everything, what you hear in the news, what happened at work, what happened in your family or whatever, or the hurricane that's coming or not coming, you be in this space all the time. And when you're in this space all the time, you're more likely to attract good solution, ideas, circumstances that give you exactly what you need. The idea is to do this kind of things, whatever you do, both or any of these things, you do it consistently. And the idea is to stay in this feeling until you automatically stay all the time. What happens is that your body and brain feel so good, it automatically allows you to be in good space, which obviously will help your health and everything else you can imagine in your life. You just need to do it. And it may take a few weeks to a few months. I believe that if you do it consistently, you should start to see something happening within days. Occasionally, people that really do this kind of work, and I explain some more things that you can do very intensely, which also describe, I'll just mention in case you don't have time to check it out, on my brain regeneration program, it gives you an option, and I give it free after you ask you to watch some videos to have a good understanding of the whole concept. I give you a program that you can design for yourself and choose some tools, and you just do it like 6 to 8 hours a day. You take breaks every hour for 15 minutes and so on. But when you do this kind of work, I've seen people that literally overnight got better or healed from all kind of stuff, including chemical sensitivity, EMF sensitivity, because these people are really handicapped and suffer a lot. And I've done this kind of work for many, many years, and I've been recommending it to my patient if they wish to. I never force anybody to do anything. And I notice over the years, people do any of these kind of tools, do much better, sometimes exponentially. Extreme cases where people that were sent home to die to hospice and went in total remission because there's nothing impossible. I used to teach training which took like a week or 10 days, 8 hours a day or more, and people did this type of things or things that create the same phenomena or give the same purpose. And I had people coming really in bad shape and coming healed or much better. Or I've seen physical healing that as a doctor I would never have believed in my life possible, but I've seen them and I've seen many of them. That training costs a lot of money and you have to spend time. You did it sometimes in a resort or so forth, but you can do the same yourself. Just take a few days off, go to the beach or whatever, or even you do it in your home and do it. It'd be a good idea to do it if you want. You don't have to, but if you want, just to jumpstart you. And sometimes just doing a few days, sometimes even 1 day or two, all of a sudden have major realization and major shifts and improvement. So that's just an option.
I have one question.
Yeah,
this
go
is
ahead.
Courtney. When you were saying for the 6 hours, for staying positive and thinking about that positive message, my phone kind of went out. Did you say to do it 6 hours consistently and once an hour to do it for 10 minutes?
No.
And kind of get yourself in that habit?
No,
okay.
let me explain. You basically, in my document, which I call Brain Regeneration, which is really a self-healing program, I give you options to many tools, to several tools. You can pick up the tools that you feel comfortable or attract you or make sense to you or you have fun with them. So you do the tool for 45 minutes, then take a break, 15 minutes. And you do, and
okay, so
of course, break to lunch, and then, but spend like 6 to 8 hours a day just doing, and you don't have to do the same thing. You can pick up, there's many of them in my book, and I explain, I describe it. So you have everything you need. You just need to take the time off, anywhere, or just go to the beach or go to
so it can't be done quickly, like on a weekend. It has to be done over more of a prolonged.
No. The time really, It varies because some people had just did it over the weekend, or
Okay.
just 1 or 2 days, and after 1 or 2 days already have like epiphany. They're like, whoa, and all of a sudden they understood things and felt better. No, but what I'm saying, if you do the other way, you can still feel much better in a few days, but when you do it intensely and intentionally, I often see a major breakthrough. But again, for somebody
Okay.
be day or two, somebody 4 or 5 days, but you can't go wrong doing it. It's actually, it's like jumpstart you, because let's say for most people I tell all it's hard to do, which is really very simple. Most people are not going to do it or be consistent. But if you do, you take a day or two, even a weekend, and do it intensely, all of a sudden everything is clear. You accelerate the process. And the rest, when you're working, when you're on the regular daily routine, you just do the things that you can do on the go. So you can do like
Okay.
a boot camp or on the go. Okay. All right.
All right. Thank you. My phone just broke up, so I
That's
couldn't hear
okay.
you.
That's
Thank you.
okay.
So you think the most important thing is just maintaining the positive feeling or the positive feeling in the body?
Well, okay. You can enhance it, and I explain a lot in other places. You just need to investigate it. For example, if you have good feeling, one thing that you can do is put the feeling in your heart, because your heart doesn't think. Your mind can, because of all your centers that are actually messing you up, so to speak, your heart doesn't think, but it's very powerful energetically, more than your brain. So when you put feeling in your heart, then it amplifies a good feeling. And for example, one thing I can add to that, if you go to my website under self-help and listen to effortless healing, it's a brief visualization that puts you in a wonderful space, and you visualize your heart. So once you do it several times, and then you obviously can do it yourself. You don't even need my voice, because it's very simple. You do it yourself. You get to a point that you're familiar with this feeling. So anytime you want, you just recreate your feeling, the feeling. So that's another tool that you can use by listening to effortless healing. And every time you need to shift yourself, or every 15 minutes, just get to this feeling, being in the moment, be whatever. I won't get into that, but that's another way to do it. Just your intention works. Another exercise that I didn't mention, but on my website, called it Self-Help Project, you just deliberately, every time you judge something or somebody or yourself or your health condition or whatever, you mentally say to yourself, hey, I release all judgment. Whatever is happening is not good, bad, right? It just is. And immediately you feel a little better. You may not be aware of it, but if you consistently release all judgment about whatever bothers you, it is the same process. And it may be easier or simpler. So you choose a process that resonates, that you feel that you're able to do. It just consistency is the key. You understand? So just putting intention every time, even if you don't get in the feeling, you already, just by the intention, it's already energy flowing, and you release judgment, which means automatically you release stress. It may take a little longer, but it's very simple to do. Because what you criticize, what upsets you, you attract more of it anyway. You attract what you are, what you resist. If you stop criticizing and judging, that's why I tell my patient, one very helpful thing, just release all judgment about your condition. Not bad, good, right, wrong, dangerous. It just is. It's much easier to heal the person. And the best is to do it consistently until automatically you won't judge the illness, or you be scared, because you feel so much better not doing it, and it'll be spontaneous. So eventually it becomes part of you. If that clarifies?
Yeah, yes.
If anybody wants to volunteer,